The Los Angeles Dodgers clubhouse erupted into complete and utter chaos in what has become one of the most shocking and disturbing incidents in recent franchise history. What was supposed to be a normal day at the ballpark turned into an absolute nightmare as tensions boiled over, emotions exploded, and the team unity that the Dodgers had worked so hard to build completely fell apart in a matter of minutes. Manager Dave Roberts was forced to reprimand Cole for recklessly using up his ABS challenges, leading to an immediate demotion to the minors. But that was only the beginning of the chaos. In a scene that left everyone in the organization absolutely stunned, Max Muncy and Dalton Rushing got into a physical brawl inside the clubhouse that required multiple teammates to break up. And as if things could not possibly get any worse, Cole retaliated in the most shocking way imaginable by hurling insults directly at Shohei Ohtani. This is the full story of the day the Dodgers clubhouse completely lost control. The trouble began during the game when Cole made a series of decisions that left manager Dave Roberts absolutely furious. According to multiple sources who witnessed the events unfold, Cole had been given the responsibility of managing the team's ABS challenges during critical moments of the game. This is a responsibility that requires discipline, focus, and excellent judgment, as ABS challenges are limited and must be used strategically to give the team the best possible chance of success. However, Cole did the exact opposite. In what can only be described as a reckless and careless display of judgment, Cole burned through the team's ABS challenges one after another in situations that did not warrant their use. Teammates watched in disbelief from the dugout as Cole wasted challenge after challenge on plays that were clearly not going to be overturned. By the time a truly critical moment arrived later in the game, the Dodgers had no challenges left, and it cost them dearly. Manager Dave Roberts was visibly furious. Those who were in the dugout during the game said they had never seen Roberts that angry before. His face was red, his jaw was clenched, and the frustration was written all over his body language. Roberts did not say anything to Cole during the game, but everyone knew that a confrontation was coming the moment they returned to the clubhouse. When the game finally ended, Roberts did not waste any time. He called Cole into his office immediately and the doors slammed shut behind them. According to sources who were nearby, Roberts could be heard raising his voice in a way that is extremely rare for the normally calm and composed Dodgers manager. The reprimand was severe, direct, and left absolutely no room for misinterpretation. "What you did out there today was completely unacceptable," Roberts reportedly told Cole. "You had one job, and you failed. You let this entire team down with your poor judgment and your lack of discipline. That is not how we do things in this organization." The meeting lasted for several tense minutes, and when Cole finally emerged from Roberts' office, his face was pale and his expression was a mixture of shock, anger, and humiliation. But the worst news was still to come. Within the hour, it was officially announced that Cole was being demoted to the minors effective immediately. The decision was swift, ruthless, and sent a clear message to everyone in the organization that poor performance and bad judgment would not be tolerated at the major league level. The news of Cole's demotion spread quickly through the clubhouse, and the reactions were mixed. Some players felt that the punishment was harsh but fair given the severity of Cole's mistakes. Others believed that the organization was overreacting and that Cole deserved another chance to prove himself. But regardless of personal opinions, one thing was certain. The atmosphere inside the Dodgers clubhouse had just become extremely tense and uncomfortable. As if the situation with Cole was not bad enough, what happened next took the chaos to an entirely different and shocking level. Just minutes after the announcement of Cole's demotion, a heated argument broke out between Max Muncy and Dalton Rushing that quickly escalated into a full-blown physical brawl right in the middle of the Dodgers clubhouse. According to eyewitnesses who were present during the incident, the argument started over something relatively minor. Muncy and Rushing had been discussing the events of the game and the situation with Cole when their conversation suddenly turned heated. Voices were raised, words were exchanged, and before anyone realized what was happening, the two players were standing face to face in an aggressive and confrontational stance. Teammates immediately sensed that the situation was about to spiral out of control. Freddie Freeman stood up from his locker and called out to both players, urging them to calm down and walk away before things got worse. But it was already too late. In a shocking moment that nobody saw coming, Muncy shoved Rushing hard in the chest, and Rushing immediately retaliated by shoving Muncy right back with even more force. What happened next was absolute chaos. The two players lunged at each other and began throwing punches in what quickly became a violent and out-of-control brawl. Teammates rushed in from all directions, desperately trying to separate the two players and restore order to the clubhouse. Freeman grabbed Muncy from behind and pulled him away while two other players tackled Rushing to the ground to prevent him from continuing the fight. The scene was chaotic, loud, and completely shocking to everyone who witnessed it. Lockers were knocked over, equipment was scattered across the floor, and the shouting echoed throughout the entire clubhouse. Security personnel were called in to help restore order, and it took several minutes before Muncy and Rushing were finally separated and the situation was brought under control. Manager Dave Roberts came rushing out of his office the moment he heard the commotion. When he saw what had happened, the expression on his face was a mixture of disbelief, anger, and deep disappointment. Roberts immediately ordered both Muncy and Rushing into separate rooms and demanded that everyone else return to their lockers and calm down immediately. According to sources inside the clubhouse, Roberts was absolutely furious at what had just taken place. This was supposed to be a professional organization with high standards and discipline, and what he had just witnessed was the complete opposite of everything the Dodgers stand for. Roberts made it clear in no uncertain terms that this kind of behavior would not be tolerated under any circumstances. Both Muncy and Rushing were later called into separate meetings with Roberts and front office executives. The discussions were serious, lengthy, and focused on accountability and consequences. While neither player was immediately suspended or fined, both were issued stern warnings that any repeat of this kind of behavior would result in severe disciplinary action. Just when it seemed like the chaos could not possibly get any worse, Cole did something that shocked the entire Dodgers organization to its core. Still reeling from his demotion to the minors and feeling humiliated and angry, Cole made the decision to lash out in the most destructive way imaginable. In a moment of pure rage and poor judgment, Cole hurled shocking and disrespectful insults directly at Shohei Ohtani. The incident occurred as Cole was packing up his locker to leave for the minor leagues. According to multiple witnesses who were present in the clubhouse at the time, Cole was muttering angrily to himself and slamming items into his bag with obvious frustration. Other players were keeping their distance, not wanting to engage with someone who was clearly in a volatile emotional state. But then, in a moment that left everyone completely stunned, Cole turned and looked directly at Ohtani, who was sitting quietly at his own locker minding his own business. Without any provocation or warning, Cole began shouting insults at the Japanese superstar that were shocking in their disrespect and hostility. "This is all your fault," Cole reportedly screamed at Ohtani. "You think you are so special, but you are the reason this team is falling apart. Everyone kisses up to you like you are some kind of god, but you do not care about anyone else on this team." The clubhouse fell completely silent. Every player stopped what they were doing and turned to look at Cole in absolute disbelief. Nobody could believe what they were hearing. To insult Shohei Ohtani, the most beloved and respected player in the entire organization, was beyond comprehension. Ohtani, to his credit, remained completely calm. He did not react with anger or aggression. Instead, he simply looked at Cole with an expression of sadness and disappointment. Ohtani did not say a single word in response. He did not need to. His silence spoke louder than any words ever could. Freddie Freeman immediately stepped in and got between Cole and Ohtani. "That is enough," Freeman said firmly. "You need to leave. Now." Several other players surrounded Cole and began escorting him toward the exit. Cole continued to shout insults as he was being led away, but his voice was drowned out by the angry voices of his now former teammates telling him to shut his mouth and get out. Once Cole was finally removed from the clubhouse, the atmosphere remained heavy and uncomfortable. Players stood around in small groups, whispering to each other about what had just happened. Many were shaking their heads in disbelief. Some looked visibly upset and angry. And Ohtani simply sat quietly at his locker, his expression unreadable. Manager Dave Roberts addressed the entire team shortly after Cole's removal. According to those who were present, Roberts made it very clear that what Cole had done was completely unacceptable and that his behavior would have serious consequences. Roberts also took a moment to address Ohtani directly and publicly apologize on behalf of the organization for the disrespectful treatment he had just endured. "Shohei, what was said to you today does not represent this organization or this team," Roberts said. "You are the heart and soul of this clubhouse, and everyone in this room knows that. We stand with you, and we will always stand with you." The entire team erupted in applause and verbal support for Ohtani. Players came over to shake his hand, pat him on the back, and express their loyalty and respect. In that moment, despite all the chaos and all the conflict, the team came together in support of their superstar and their leader. As the dust finally began to settle on one of the most chaotic and disturbing days in Dodgers history, the organization was left to pick up the pieces and figure out how to move forward. Cole's demotion to the minors was now official and permanent. His shocking insults toward Ohtani had burned every bridge he had with the organization, and it was clear that his future with the Dodgers was over. Max Muncy and Dalton Rushing both issued public apologies for their behavior and promised that nothing like the clubhouse brawl would ever happen again. Both players acknowledged that they had let their emotions get the better of them and that they were committed to being better teammates moving forward. Shohei Ohtani, as always, handled the situation with grace and class. He released a brief statement saying that he held no grudges and that his focus remained entirely on helping the Dodgers win games and compete for a championship. His leadership and maturity in the face of such disrespect only increased the respect and admiration that his teammates and fans had for him. Manager Dave Roberts addressed the media and acknowledged that the day had been incredibly difficult for the entire organization. But he also expressed confidence that the team would learn from these mistakes, grow stronger, and come back more united than ever before. Max Muncy and Dalton Rushing both issued public apologies for their behavior and promised that nothing like the clubhouse brawl would ever happen again. Both players acknowledged that they had let their emotions get the better of them and that they were committed to being better teammates moving forward. Shohei Ohtani, as always, handled the situation with grace and class. He released a brief statement saying that he held no grudges and that his focus remained entirely on helping the Dodgers win games and compete for a championship. His leadership and maturity in the face of such disrespect only increased the respect and admiration that his teammates and fans had for him. Manager Dave Roberts addressed the media and acknowledged that the day had been incredibly difficult for the entire organization. But he also expressed confidence that the team would learn from these mistakes, grow stronger, and come back more united than ever before.